Vince Gironda was a professional bodybuilder back in the 60s and 70s that made claims that 36 eggs per day was the equivalent of a mild cycle of steroids. Now, I don't believe anyone in their right mind should eat 36 eggs per day, but his physiognomy checks out. The man is an absolute weapon. I mean, look at this. I remember during my peak bulk, I was eating over 6 to 10 eggs per day, and I was very chunky. I was getting in a lot of calories, and I felt like a kid on Christmas because every time I'd wake up, I had just this insane morning wood. I would be pitching a tent every single morning and I wouldn't miss. I eventually began my cut, and I noticed that my workouts started to significantly diminish in quality and quantity. I had an increase of anxiety that came up out of nowhere, and just a general higher level of complacency within my day-to-day habits. I was tracing this back the other day, and I firmly believe that the reason why I was getting complacent and anxious was because I wasn't eating enough eggs. It sounds insane, but let me explain. My diet when I was cutting was extremely low in cholesterol and good healthy saturated fats. And if you didn't know, saturated fat is the precursor to extremely high levels of testosterone. Those fat doctors in the Western medicine system that tell you that eggs are bad because the cholesterol is terrible for you and that you should avoid salt is a complete psyop. The reason why these fat doctors tell you to avoid eggs and to avoid salt and saturated fat is because they're scared that you will gain the powerful esoteric nutritional knowledge of the ancients that will allow you to have extremely high levels of vitality, high levels of testosterone, so that you don't conform to the bullshit narrative that they're pushing in today's modern sick world. And since understanding this, I've been now consuming more saturated fat than an entire African village consumes in an entire year. But I digress. In this video, I'll be sharing my 2024 roadmap that I'll be using to maximize my hormonal health and maximize my testosterone production for business success, relationship success, and just overall a holistic health and lifestyle success. And I want to discuss the eating routine that I will be embodying in this process. So the first thing that I'll be having upon waking every morning is nothing. Kind of. For breakfast, I will be having a bulletproof coffee. Now, I've been doing this for the past couple of months and I took a little break, but now I'm back to drinking it. Bulletproof coffee is basically just regular black coffee with a little bit of fat, either butter, coconut oil, or some sort of ghee in it. And I've seen Hamza vilify coffee like it's this incredibly toxic thing in people's lives. And while I do agree the fact that it can be addictive and it can ruin some people's lives, I have implemented it into my life in a way where it has only provided benefits for me. If you don't know anything about coffee, it has actually been used as a medicine and a tool for the past couple of hundreds of years, back to the 15th century in Ethiopia and Yemen. You see, coffee also has anti-estrogenic properties to it. You can look up the studies online to confirm this. This is true. It has extremely high cognitive and neuroprotective properties. When used in conjunction with a healthy fat, it actually causes a steady release of energy rather than a big spike and a big crash later in the day. The two key principles I just want to discuss in regards to coffee is timing and transmutation. The timing and the method of the transmutation of the energy you get is going to make or break if this is going to ruin your life or have insane benefits to your life. 90 minutes after waking up is the time period I allow myself to first have this beverage. The reason why I wait is because in the morning when you wake up, you have naturally higher levels of cortisol in your body. And so if you go straight for the drink, you actually cause a insanely high spike in cortisol and stress that eventually you will crash later in the day. So if you can push back the time period when you drink it, along with adding a fat, then you'll find that it's a bit of a game changer. You'll notice that, wow, I've never felt this calm and sort of steady release over the day in the past if you've just drank it straight upon waking up. And the transmutation side is best used in either deep work or some form of physical exercise and working out. And this will keep me going for a couple of hours, up to 5 hours after I wake up. And so I will fast for the first 5 hours of the day. And I was curious, this also increases growth hormone. There's a meme that I'll put up now I thought was quite funny, and I looked it up. Growth hormone actually increases by 2000% after fasting for a certain period of time. Allowing this HGH to build up in your body is going to be huge, in not just in terms of hormonal health, but in terms of muscle gain as well. And so what I'm going to be doing is I will break my fast with 6 to 10 eggs every day at a minimum. And I'm going to be adding some sort of sauerkraut or some sort of fermented vegetable in there for the gut health. I'd like to mention as well that when I stay away from heavy carbohydrates in that first meal as I break my fast, I find that I have just a more efficient level of energy, and this actually really helps with my workouts. I found that if I stay in ketosis by just eating fat and protein for my first meal, then my body seems to use less oxygen and seems to not be exerting as much energy in the same workouts and the same movements that I would do if I broke it with like some sort of carbohydrate. The benefits of staying in ketosis for the first half of the day seem to be very beneficial for me, and I would recommend that you try this as well. I was doing some research and I found that throughout the day it is also beneficial to snack on things like Brazil nuts and organic dark chocolate. Going back to what I said before about the zinc, selenium and zinc support testosterone production. Remember how I mentioned earlier about the fat doctor telling you to stay away from salt? Well, just to spite these people, I actually add Himalayan rock salt or some sort of Celtic sea salt into my water every time I drink water. I've found that this also helps me balance my electrolytes and keeps my energy high throughout the day, rather than just drinking empty water and having all of the salt and magnesium and calcium flush out of my body. For dinner, my plan is to be having some sort of complex carbohydrate like sweet potatoes. And I'll normally fry these in an insane amount of extra virgin olive oil with some ground beef as well. The thing that I've kind of understood about being my own test dummy in terms of my eating throughout the years is people don't really understand that when your hormone levels are extremely healthy and extremely balanced, you can get away with eating pretty much whatever you want in the realms of good saturated fats. I'm not talking about processed foods. I'm talking about single origin, single ingredient foods. And so when I hear people say that they're bulking with potatoes and beef, I kind of laugh because it's honestly, that's my cutting diet now. I eat as much as I did back when I was bulking, but I find that I'm able to keep the weight off me a lot easier because my hormone health and my hormonal profile is a lot healthier and a lot more balanced. I sometimes feel like I'm cheating because of how much honey, chocolate, and all of these highly saturated fatty foods that I eat. Now, with all this being said, with this particular roadmap that I'm going down for 2024 in terms of my eating, I wanted to keep it simple. And I think this is something that you can take from this as well. Simplicity is key. And if you can pick 2 meals out of every meal that you have in your day, so your breakfast, lunch, dinner, I choose to have my breakfast as just coffee, my lunch to be something like 6 eggs, and my dinner to be a bit larger. That's just what works for me. I found that when I simplify it in this way, it's a lot easier to stick to very long term. And if you want success in terms of having the best physique of your life, having extreme focus, and most importantly, having really high testosterone, then it would be in your best interest to think about simplifying and minimalizing the decisions that you make in your day. So write out 2 meals for every single meal that you're going to have. For me, my lunch might be 6 eggs, but then it also might be some Greek yogurt as well. So that's 2 meals that I can stick to for this entire year until I change it again. I've also done a bit of research in my ancestral background, and so coming from Germany, I realized they probably didn't have that much access to fish. They were probably eating more potatoes and more beef. And so that has worked for me because If you think about it, you have the blood of your ancient ancestors. And so by you eating the same things as them, your body and your natural biology is going to just naturally be healthier. That is a very bro science thing, but I feel like I really believe that and intuitively know that to be true. I hope this gave you some inspiration into the new year, bro. And I really hope that this year just is amazing for you. I'm here to help you. My name is Musaeus, and my goal and purpose is to help you be the best version of yourself through health and fitness and making you the most vital version of yourself that you can be. Leave a like and comment what you're going into the new year with, what you're going to change. I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you soon, bro.